What up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video. We are going to finally do the ranking of Pokemon sprites. We're going to start off with Gen 1. If you see right now on the left is going to be the Japanese Pokemon Green. On the right is going to be the Pokemon Red and Blue as we know it. So I'm going to rank through all of these. Let me know what y'all think your favorite one is down in the comment section below. And let's get it started. All right, so we're starting off with number 1, Bulbasaur. Bulbasaur, Gen 1 sprite is just not good in my opinion. It just looked very stubby and the leap is kind of goofy. I think the Pokemon Red and Blue version looks slightly better, but I'd say this is an overall L for one of the most legendary starters of all time. Ivysaur. Okay, I like both of these. The original version, he's kind of leaned down, he's fierce, he's got this look in his eyes, but then I like the way he stands up in the Pokemon Red and Blue version. I think he looks a little bit weirder in the eyes on the original, so I'm gonna have to go with the Pokemon Red and Blue. I'm sticking with the right on this one. My boy Venusaur. Yeah, this is a hot mess on the left. We're gonna go with the Red and Blue version. That looks really good. I think that is a really clean look to Venusaur. He looks fierce, he's massive, you know, you can see the vegetation on him. I think this is really well done. Charmander. This one, the one on the left, I like how he's animated. I can tell what they were going for. It's kind of like the signature Charmander like hop walk. On the right, it just doesn't really look like Charmander. I'm gonna say this one is left. We're going left on this one. Charmeleon. Okay. I don't know what they did with his hands on the left, but the hands are not it, dude. Red and Blue wins by default. I actually like this Charmeleon. I think he looks pretty good. You know, he looks fierce, like he's swiping and he's like dashing forward. I've always been a fan of this Charmeleon. Back sprite, that'll be for another video. What is this? That Charizard on the left is like happy. His arm is kind of not there. His left arm, I don't know what they're doing with that. He's happy. He's like he's holding the flame in his hand. That one's all over the place. Default goes to Pokemon Red and Blue for sure. Okay, Squirtle. I like Squirtle's original sprite. It lacks detail though. It lacks a little bit of detail, but I think the Pokemon Red and Blue is a lot better. This one on the left, it's kind of hard to see what's going on with the look of it. So we're going with the Red and Blue version. Wartortle. Ooh, I like this other one. You can see his tail a lot more on the left side, but I like the pose a lot better for the right. I think Wartortle was probably the coolest mid evolution for the original starting 3. I've always liked his like wing cap Mario like ears. I always thought that was a really underrated part of Wartortle, but I'm gonna go with the original. I say original, but Red and Blue. Blastoise. Ooh. That green version looks pretty good, though. I kind of like that one. That one looks a little bit more Blastoise-y, whatever that means. I think even on the right, they both look really good. And even though Blastoise doesn't really look like this, I still think it looks very menacing. Like when I see that Blastoise on the right, he looks like a boss, right? Like a literal boss, like a Team Rocket would have a Blastoise or something. That's just kind of what it looks like to me. I'm gonna go with a draw for this one. I think they both did a really good job. I like both of these. Now we're going to the bug types. Caterpie, this is pretty much exactly the same. Not too much to say about this one. Basic, it's Caterpie. He's only there for a little bit. I would give this a draw for sure. Metapod. A very basic Pokemon that I feel like they tried to do too much with the angle. I always thought looking at it as an original that this was his nose, right? I always thought this was Metapod's nose, but looking at it now, I don't think it actually is. I'm gonna go with a draw for this one too. These both don't really stick out to me. Butterfree, ooh. Dude, that one on the left looks like Mothra almost. He kind of has a Godzilla look to him. That's a pretty cool pose though. I like that one. That's a really cool pose. The Red and Blue Butterfree looks really good. I'm gonna have to give this a tie as well. I think they both did a really good job with the Butterfree look. It looks a little bit more scary. It looks scarier on the left, but right looks more Butterfree. Weedle. Pokemon Red and Blue, I would say for this one. The green version looks a little too... it looks incomplete. I think the original Weedle looks a lot better. Red and Blue wins. Oh, Kakuna. But there was something about the claw look from Kakuna that I really like. I'm gonna go with Red and Blue on this one because I always thought Kakuna was such a cool looking Pokemon, and you realize it's literally just a cocoon and it learns Harden, and it's sad. It's such a cool look, but nothing going for it. Red and Blue wins this one. Last one for this video is going to be Beedrill. Red and Blue wins. This green version, the proportions are really weird. Like it has potential, but I think Red and Blue cleaned it up really well. I always thought Beedrill was another one of the cool early Pokemon. It was just anticlimactic because you spend all this time grinding for it, and then once you evolve it was trash. So I would love to see a evolution for Beedrill. I think it had a mega evolution, but I want to see a true evolution for Beedrill. That'd be super cool to add another evolution to the bug line to make them like really strong. But Red and Blue wins this one. All right, but that is going to be it for the first row. That's the first 15. But I appreciate y'all for watching this video. Let me know what y'all think of the format. If you want to see more from this, of course, like and subscribe and comment down below what y'all think of the video. But once again, I appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of y'all day. See you on the flip side. Deuces. Yo, what's up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video. We are doing part 2 of the Gen 1 sprites. If it's your first time checking in on this video, remember the sprites on the left are going to be from the original Pokemon Green, while the sprites on the right are going to be from the Red and Blue version. If you're wondering why is there no yellow in this, it's because yellow looked great and it would just completely outshine these two. So we're comparing the OG of the OG. Now let's get it started. First one, we've got Pidgey at number 16. You know, this Pokemon Green version on the left looks really good. I never really had a problem with the original. It looks just fine, just a little bird. But I like the fact that the Pokemon Green version is like he's a little bit more fierce. So I'm gonna have to go with the left. Pokemon Green wins this one. Pidgeotto. Man, I always remember this one, man. I thought the plump little Pidgeotto it's nostalgic for some reason. But I gotta give props to this Pokemon Green one again, because once again, it's a little bit more fierce. You know, it's got the beak open. As much as I love the original, I'm gonna go with Green. Green has to win again, 2 in a row for Pokemon Green. Ooh, Pidgeot. We got a Pokemon Green sweep. The original Pidgeot. You know, it's iconic, but there's something about Pidgeotto that looks cooler than Pidgeot for some reason. But this green version is fire. The hair is kind of slick. It's almost flowing a little bit. Once again, the beak open, it's fierce. They're both open on these, but the dimensions and proportions definitely went on the Pokemon Green version. So I'm gonna have to give it to that. That's a nice looking sprite for that one. All right, Rattata. Rattata. That's what I used to call it as a kid, Rattata. Actually, this is a tie. I think they're almost the same. It just looks rotated. It looks like the Red and Blue version just rotated a little bit. But they're pretty much the same thing in my opinion. Ooh, Raticate. Man, nah, Raticate Pokemon Red and Blue sprite I think is one of the best looking ones in the entire game. As far as like pose, design, I think they absolutely knocked it out the park with this one. That's a top tier sprite design. The green version looks fine. It looks really good too, but nah, Red and Blue killed it with this. I think Raticate's one of the better looking in the entire 150. So Red and Blue wins this one. Oh, buddy, I forgot about Spearo's original, man. I used to always laugh because it always looked like he was like always thought he was like a player or something, like a pimp. You know, he had that look like, yeah, what you gonna do about it, baby? But, you know, this green version is kind of cool too. It's a little bit more bird-like, a little bit more fierce. They have 2 different personalities between these two. But that Red and Blue one, I think out of nostalgia and just how that smirk looked, I'm gonna have to give it to the Red and Blue. Ooh, Fearow, okay. Dang, that's a pretty clean one. That green looks pretty sick. I think the problem with the original red and blue Pharaoh is that the beak and the the little horns on its beak kind of blend in with the inside of the original Pharaoh's wing. I thought it looked cool. I still think it looks good, but the original green version did a way better job of nailing that Pharaoh. His wings are kind of curving. He's flying towards you like he's about to attack. I think they actually did a really good job with this Pharaoh. So I'm gonna take it to Pokemon Green for this one. What is this, dude? I've never seen this before. What? I didn't realize Ekans looked this bad. Yeah, this is one of those ones where you say it's kind of bad. The one from the original green looks so derpy. He's like, was it the? Nah, bro. And the red and blue version looks plain, but once again, it is just a snake. It has no uniqueness about it whatsoever. So for this one, red and blue wins, but these are not good. These are an example of like not good designs in my opinion. They could have done a lot better with these. Now my boy Arbok though, dude. Red and blue wins, dude. I think Arbok is another contender from one of the better looking Gen 1 sprites. It looks very villainous. It's menacing. You know, the design from the, the Cobra look of it, which by the way, for anybody who doesn't know, Arbok is Cobra and Ekans is Snake. They're just backwards. One of the oldest and most known facts, but for people who don't know that. Yeah, the green one looks a little too weird. His head is a little too lean back. Still did a good job, but red and blue definitely wins how it's facing you. I like the ones that face you a lot. Oh man, Pikachu before he was the mascot. I've never seen this green version before. I love the original puffy, little chubby Pikachu. There's something nostalgic about like, when you finally found him in Viridian Forest before before Yellow came out, right? And you found him in Viridian Forest and you were like, yo, it's Pikachu, it's Pikachu. Just to capture him and realize he's not good at all. I'm gonna stick with the red and blue. I just like the pose, the nostalgia of that one a lot better. The green one looks a little stumpy to me. It looks a little stiff. Raichu. They didn't really do Raichu justice. It's such an underrated Pokemon. Obviously, it's overshadowed by the fact that its mascot will never ever be a Raichu. I'm gonna give this the slight edge to Pokemon Red and Blue. Sandshrew. A lot of people give flack to his original red and blue design. I think it looks really good. They managed to somehow put the detail in the tail and how it's, I don't know what it's called on the animal, but obviously it's like sand, tan, the pattern that Sandshrew has. The green version, it's a little bit cute, but I don't think it looks as cool as the red and blue version. So I'm gonna give this one to red and blue. Sandslash. I thought this design was pretty cool too. That's another design that gets a lot of flack from the community, and I think Sandslash is very cool. Now, as he's been modernized, he definitely looks a lot better. I wish the Pokemon was a little bit better, but I don't like this green version. It looks disconfigured a little bit. So red and blue definitely wins for Sandslash. Nidoran, my goodness, man. Nidoran, okay, spoiler alert, Nidoran males is terrible too. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing this one, the weird like forehead. Listen, I got a big forehead too, but the forehead on that Nidoran and the ear, it looks very weird. The green version, it could have been it could have been done right, but its eyes and detail get lost with the fact that it's like leaning back and howling. The pose is a lot better. So Pokemon Green definitely wins this one because the red and blue design is so terrible. But Nidoran would get justice later on in the games. And I think even the yellow version is good, but the original, terrible. Nidorina, a lot better as you've seen than Nidoran female. I think Nidorina's, both of their designs look pretty good. I will give this a draw. I think they both do a really good job of just, green's a little bit more stand up and fierce, and then red and blue's a little bit more standby and ready. So this is pretty good. Yo, Nidoqueen is probably a top 5 design of Gen 1 in general. I think, and for the sprite, it's even better. This Nidoqueen is prime time. Absolutely amazing. The green version, not quite it. too squished in, too stubby. But the red and blue Nidoqueen, top tier design. This is like a 10 out of 10, dude. Male Nidoran, once again, not a good idea. Especially with how cool Nidorino looks on the cover when the game's fighting. And they just did not do a good job of these two. So they both, red and blue wins because it's a little bit more animated and it's running forward. But these are both terrible. I don't think there's a true winner here. Nidorino, though. That green version is fire too, though. I thought they'd had a really good original red and blue, but that green is crazy, dude. Tie. These are both really good, actually. I've never seen this one version before. That was like what he looks like on the animation when he's fighting, right? And then to end it off, we've got the king himself, Nidoking. The green version, they tried it. It's a lot better than the Nidoqueen. But the red and blue Nidoking, also a top tier design. One of the coolest Pokemon, the coolest looking Pokemon ever, are the king and the queen. Pokemon red and blue definitely wins. But all right, everybody, thank y'all so much for watching part 2 of this video. Let me know what you guys think. I've also tested the vertical format. Let me know if you like this vertical format. I know a lot of people view from their phones, but I'm also going through a playthrough of Pokemon Yellow Legacy, which is a new ROM hack that enhances the original Pokemon Yellow. And I want to go through all of the generations of Pokemon. I'm also playing Mario Brothers Wonder. So don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't already. Check out my other social medias, which will be in the description section as I stream on multiple things. Thank y'all so much. Enjoy the rest of y'all day. See you soon. Deuces. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video. We are part 3 on the series of rating the Generation 1 sprites. We've done a little bit of a rework now, so you can clearly see on the left side is the Pokemon Green sprite, aka the original Japanese version, and on the right is the Pokemon Red and Blue version. We don't include Yellow because it's miles ahead of both of these. So we're gonna compare these, we're gonna move forward. If you like the video, you know what to do. Go ahead and drop that like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let's get right into it. All right, first up on the list, we are at Clefairy right now. Clefairy, the Mount Moon Classic. I think the red and blue version looks a lot better just off the top. The ears a little bit better. It's a lot more animated. It's kind of wide and jumping at you. The green version, it looks a little incomplete. So I'm gonna say Pokemon Red and Blue for this one. Clefable. Now this is a different story right here. This green version, I actually like it a little bit more. It's staring at the screen. It's kind of waving at you. It looks a little bit more in control. I think the red and blue version looks slightly deformed a little bit, but I think these both look pretty good overall. I'm gonna have to go with the green version. I'm saying Pokemon Green. Wow, I didn't realize Vulpix looked this bad. That's how Vulpix looked? These are both pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. There's no winner in this one. These are both pretty bad. Maybe red and blue, but overall, draw. 2 negatives. 2 negatives don't equal a positive, all right? It's not multiplication out here. I don't even have to debate this one. Red and blue wins. Ninetales doesn't look very good either. It looks better than Vulpix, but I don't know what green was going for. It's like, it's in pain. It's like, ah. The Ninetales looks like it's in pain. Like it's been going through some stuff and it's singing its heart out. It looks pretty bad. So red and blue wins. Jigglypuff is one of those Pokemon I actually remember seeing it in game versus when I watched the anime, and I was like, something feels off about it. I think these both look pretty bad. As you can tell, this is pretty much the same exact sprite, and they just put the arms out and then the legs are slightly repositioned. These aren't good. Red and blue wins only because Jigglypuff's more animated, but I'd say this is an L as well. Jeez Louise, look at Wigglytuff, man. These are rough today. See, we had some really good ones in the beginning, but now that we're starting to get more and more deep into the catalog, the Pokemon that we didn't really see in the anime, Wigglytuff. That green version with they were trying to orientate his head a little bit, you could tell, but it just got the Uncle Ruckus eyes, man. Pokemon Red and Blue wins this one. Zubat. Nah. Red and Blue wins. There's not much talk in there. That one on the left, it looks like a beginner did it or something. Like they didn't know what they were doing. This is the most negative video I've done in this series so far. These are not good. Nah. Red and Blue wins. I think that's a classic Zubat design. Never had a problem with the way Zubat looked in this game. Maybe the most annoying Pokemon of all time though. Just saying. I love the original Golbat design. I talked about it in my initial video that I did about this series. There was something crazy about that giant tongue that stuck out from Golbat. It just looks scary. It looks menacing. It almost reminds me of monsters from the Dragon Quest Dragon Warrior series. So the green version, it looks fine, but when you notice the tongue isn't there, like it's not the same without the tongue. You know what I'm saying? Red and Blue wins. This is a classic in the sense of just how ridiculous it looked. So Oddish is actually low-key one of my favorite lines. I really like playing with Oddish in my Pokemon playthroughs. I don't know why, I just do. The weeds look a little bit funnier on the green version. They tried to add more detail to it, but it still kind of loses detail at the same time. I will give this one a draw because the all black Oddish was just an odd design at the time, and as more colors became available, you saw Oddish's redesign get better. So I'm gonna give this one a draw. Gloom. Yo, have you ever seen the meme of that kid where he's like his face is all, I'm gonna put it up on the screen, but there's a meme of this kid where he's just like, that's exactly what Gloom looks like. I used to always laugh at this when I was a kid. These both look pretty funny though. They're like good bad. I think good bad is the best way to explain these two. I like that green version too, because he's just kind of like tired. Like, you know, the red and blue version is like when he's partying, having fun, and then at the end of the night he's like super tired and he's like barely stumbling to get back to his door. I'm gonna give this one a draw. I like these two. All right, and now we have Vileplume. I never realized how odd its dimensions looked on these games. That it just looks like it's tilted on its head. The proportions are really off. These both look, they're pretty much the same too. Not good sprites. Like I said, Oddish design gets better as, you know, you add more color, but the limited colors on the Game Boy did not do this Pokemon any sort of justice. I'm gonna give this one a draw. I think the Oddish line gets an overall draw in my opinion. All right, now we're at Paris. I forgot how ugly the original Paris design looked. It's like one of my least favorite Pokemon. It's just such a not good Pokemon. Green version wins. It looks a lot more bug-like. It looks more crab-like on the Pokemon Red and Blue version, but I like the green's design better. You can see more character. I like the pose a little bit better. It's a lot more detail. You can see both mushrooms. I'm gonna give it to green version for this one. Parasect though, ooh. Now, dang, these both are pretty good. Now, I remember I had a challenge at work one time. Me and a coworker tried to write down all 150 Pokemon from memory. Parasect was the one that I did not guess. I forgot. We could not get all of them. We got 150 out of 151. It was Parasect that we couldn't get for the life of us. The green one maybe slightly better. I like the menacing eyes from underneath the shadow of the hood, but then I also like the angle of the red and blue version better. This is a draw. These are pretty good sprites. I think they did a good job with Parasect. Dang, Venonat. My goodness, I forget about Venonat. These are both look pretty much the same. I'm gonna give this to red and blue. They did a good job with the Venonat design. It's not a very popular Pokemon, but once again, I give more prop to the more animated Pokemon. It kind of showed a little bit of the personality of like what they're trying to do. I'm gonna give this to red and blue. All right, Venomoth. These look pretty much the same, but something's off about the green where I think the little hands, I don't know what they're called on a moth, but his little hands, there's a loss of detail a little bit in some of the green version. I'm gonna give this to red and blue, but slightly. They're pretty much the same. All right, y'all, and that's the conclusion of the video. I hope you all enjoyed it. These are some good Pokemon. It's the most negative one I've had yet, but if you like the video, don't forget to like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Also know that I stream and I play games on different platforms, currently playing through Pokemon Yellow Legacy, as well as Super Mario Bros. Wonder. So once again, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with your boy. It's been real. See you on the flip side. Deuces. Yo, what's good everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video, and today we are going to be doing part 4 of ranking Generation 1 sprites. As always, on your left side is going to be the Pokemon Green, which is the original Japanese version. On your right side is going to be the Pokemon Red and Blue that a lot of us played growing up. And we're going to jump straight into this. We're going to compare these. We're going to have a little bit of fun with it. See you soon. All right, first on the list, we got the one and only Diglett. Oh man, I like how the Pokemon Green one is like these super like cute bug eyes. It looks weird though. I think the right form looks more like Diglett. This isn't the best sprite, but this is also like one of the simplest Pokemon. I don't know how this like didn't look better than what it did, but Red and Blue wins this one. Doug Trio. Remember the show when he go, Doug Trio, Trio, Trio. Diglett D, Doug Trio, Trio. You know, the Red and Blue version is kind of cool because the angle and how all of them have like 3 different dimensions. But then the Pokemon Green version has like an angry family portrait. I think these are both pretty cool. I like what they were going for with these. I'm gonna give this a draw. I like the uniqueness, especially of that Pokemon Red and Blue one. Meowth, the classic, the Team Rocket mascot. This is a very easy one. That Red and Blue version wins. I think that's actually one of the better looking sprites in the entire Gen 1 is Meowth, because it's got the pose and it's kind of like being the cute cat and it's got the wink. They killed it with this sprite. I think that's a top tier sprite. The green version, it's not terrible, but there's so much white space in the stomach. It lacks a lot of detail. Red and Blue wins. Oh, my boy Psyduck. The Misty Classic right here. Red and Blue definitely wins this one. The eye and the right hand from the green version looks kind of weird. The proportions are off on it. I like how this one's like turned, the Red and Blue's turned to its side like, what am I supposed to do next? I'm confused, G. I'm confused. Help me out. I'm confused. Red and Blue wins. Golduck. I think I mentioned this before, but Golduck is low-key one of my favorite Gen 1 Pokemon. Such a cool design. It was just that you had Blastoise by then. You know, if you picked Blastoise, you weren't really getting the second water Pokemon. The Red and Blue version wins this one. It's not a very good-looking sprite, but the pose on it's really cool. I like how it's in a combat, like a martial artist stance almost. But the green version, its eyes are all jacked up. It doesn't look like Golduck at all. This one's not, these aren't very good. Golduck deserves better. Red and Blue wins though. Mankey, bro. I forgot the horror that is Mankey. I used to think that its arms were, I used to think that was its body. Like, as a kid, I thought the arms were attached to the top of his head, which was his ears. I thought its ears and its hands and arms were one piece. Oh my God, it's terrible. Yeah, the green version wins only because you can tell that Mankey actually has arms. But these are both terrible, not good. Mankey. Such a fun Pokemon to use though, but he dies from like everything. Primeape. I think Primeape's looks a lot better than Mankey, okay? The hands are a little funny looking, but he's going at you. And I remember fighting him. He kind of looks scary, you know. You know, they're known for being angry, so you don't want to fight one. The green version, it just doesn't look good. It didn't know what to do with the face and the eyes. They tried to go for these real weird, realistic looking eyes. The pose looks solid, but the face and detail is really weird on the green version. Red and Blue wins this one. Ooh. All right, so we got Growlithe. Man, I forgot that Growlithe didn't look that good either. It looks like realistic. You know, it's kind of odd when you see some of the different designs. It makes you wonder, you know, with the artists back then, you know, if they had a bunch of different artists working on certain sprite designs. This one looks hyper realistic, and it doesn't fit that well. I give this to red and blue because its mouth's open. It looks a little bit more dog-like. But the green version is not bad. It's not a good, I just don't think it's a good design. Arcanine, oh man. Ooh, that green version looks pretty good too though. This used to be my favorite Pokemon. Arcanine was my favorite Pokemon as a kid. I just hated that it didn't learn good moves, at least at the time. And you needed a Firestone for him. I think this is a draw. Both of these look really good. I really like how the paws are together on the red and blue version, but the green version, it's a little bit more elegant, like it's walking forward. It makes it feel like the flames are alive. They did a good job with Arcanine. It definitely gives its kind of, I don't know if it's considered pseudo legendary, but for the sake of video, I'm gonna say it is. It gives a pseudo legendary status that Arcanine always deserved. Poliwag, yeah, the very boring design. It's not that this sprite is bad or anything. I don't think they're bad at all. It's just a very boring design. I'm gonna give this one a draw, and there's not really too much to say about this, to be honest with you. I like the Poliwag line, but Poliwag himself is a fairly boring, I think, design. Poliwhirl, a really cool Pokemon that I don't remember, but I always thought that Poliwhirl never had the fighting type, right? Despite it having this water Pokemon that had fighting moves. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comment section, but I think this looks pretty cool. I really like the red and blue version. He's kind of got that fist like, man, I'm gonna tear you up, bro. Step up to me, homie. Step up to me, homie. I got this fist of the North Star ready for you. So I think it looks pretty good. The green version, it looks too small and he looks kind of wimpy. Red and blue definitely wins this one. It's a really good, that's probably like a top 20 design, I think. Poliwrath, okay. He's got that secret agent man, but that kung fu pose too. I like some of these kung fu poses that they went with. Kind of reminded me of Golduck from earlier. I like this design for Poliwrath. And then if you look at the green version, I feel like the green version is almost more reminiscent of what you typically see as Poliwrath, which I find interesting. I haven't seen that much in a lot of these sprite comparisons. I like the red and blue version better because I think the secretive karate chop pose, like I said, the water fighting type, don't know if it had an official fighting type in Gen 1, correct me in the comment section. Green did good, but red and blue I think is gonna take the cake on this one. But all right, everybody, that is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, man, we have been knocking these down. We're gonna do all 150, so there's plenty more to come. I hope y'all enjoyed the video. I just did a build of a Game Boy Color to FPGA earlier today on stream. So if you like to see really cool things, whether I'm tinkering with things on stream or I'm gaming, playing Pokemon Legacy, Super Mario Brothers, any sort of game, check me out. My social medias are in the description section. And if you got suggestions for future videos or ideas, let me know. I'm always open to this stuff. Thank you so much for checking me out. I'll see you on the flip side, y'all. Deuces. Peace out. What up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video, and we are jumping into another section of ranking Generation 1 sprites. We're going to start off with the homie Abra here shortly. As always, the Pokemon Green sprites are going to be on the left side of your screen. Pokemon Red and Blue version are going to be on your right side of the screen. So let's get it rolling. If you liked the video, don't forget to like, subscribe. Do it for your boy. All right, so we're starting off with Abra. First thought is I actually really like this green version. The Pokemon Red and Blue did a good job. That's the Abra as we know it, right? But there's something that's kind of menacing about how it almost looks like Predator-like, right? And the Red and Blue is cute, but the green version is more like sinister. I'm gonna give this one a draw. I really like that green version for some reason. It's sticking out to me. Kadabra. I always forgot that the original Kadabra, when I played Red and Blue, I always thought his legs and his posture looked kind of funny. Like, he doesn't look terrible, but then when you come over here and look at that green sprite, they killed it on that. That one's a lot better than the Red and Blue version. He almost looks like a final evolution, just like that. I'm gonna give this one the Pokemon Green for sure. That's a dub for them. Alakazam. This is a different story though. Yo, he's even got the is that the star? The little star on his forehead? Yeah, they probably took that out for controversy reasons. So it doesn't look good because its eyes and the detail gets kind of messed up. The problem that this green one has reminds me of the problem that Kadabra had for red and blue. So it's weird how they kind of flipped. The Alakazam is a top tier sprite when it comes to red and blue though. That's a classic, pure classic. Red and blue definitely wins this one. Oh, the horror that is Machop. Man, I always used to laugh because I used to say it was Gumby. There's no way this doesn't look like a gray fighting version of Gumby. Y'all may be too young for that one. But it looks like Gumby. The red and blue one is bad but charming though at the same time. It's charmingly bad. However, the green version, I like that one. He's flexing his arm, right? He's like, man, I got these guns right here. I haven't got my 4 arms yet, but I'm still Machop. So I think the green version wins this one, despite the portion being a little bit off. I think it's a way better representation of Machop being a fighting type Pokemon. Machoke. I've always liked this design too. He's literally the bodybuilder. You know, he's flexing for the competition. Mr. Olympia out here. I've always thought this is a pretty cool sprite. Nice little flexing going on. The green version though too, I think it's pretty good. You know, they're both kind of bodybuilder-like. Arm. Oh, I'm just making random noises at this point. But these are both good. The mouth looks a little funny on the green one, but overall I give this one a draw. I think they both did a good job on what Machoke represents. Machamp. This is an example of how I think a lot of Pokemon, these are the original designs, because what we see in like the anime and in the future, some of them look completely different. So I've always thought that these original red, blue, and green sprites were like the beta version of some Pokemon. I don't think this is a bad one. I think a lot of people would say this is a bad looking sprite, but I like the detail. I think they did a good job with both of these. I like the green version's got like, he's like yelling. Red and blue's cool. I would give this a draw as well. I think they're pretty good. I think they're pretty charming. Bellsprout. Gosh, one of the best Pokemon of all time, right? Nah, I'm kidding. This is a draw. Yeah, they both look pretty much the same. Red and blue has more detail though. So I would give the slight edge to red and blue, but this is pretty much a draw. Very basic Pokemon, kind of like when I talked about Poliwhirl in the last episode. Very basic, not really much going for it, so it's super hard to mess this up. Oh my god, the terror of Weeping Bell, bro, that is a childhood flashback. I forgot about how goofy Weeping Bell looked. This is easily like probably my least favorite grass type from this generation. It just looks so weird. It looks like a freaking, what is it, a plunger. It looks like like when you clog in your toilet or something, you're trying to unclog your toilet. It looks like a generic Taco Bell. I'm gonna call them Taco Bell. That's my new name for Weeping Bell. This one's a draw. These are both pretty bad. They both have to take the L on this one. Victory Bell. Yeah, this is another one that I didn't think was designed that well. I think it's because Victory Bell in the anime had a lot better design, right? And so I think they tried to go for a menacing look on here, but it just kind of doesn't really work. Slight edge to red and blue for this one. Tentacool. All right, this is kind of odd. I don't remember it looking like this as a kid, to be honest with you. They look pretty much the same. One's looking forward, one's looking down. I don't know why the red and blue version is looking down the way it is. So I'm gonna go with the green version, but this is pretty much the same exact sprite. Wow, Tentacruel. Now this is also a high tier sprite design. I was never a fan of having the Pokemon on my team because they were so annoying. They were like Zubats, right? But you eventually learn how good they were. But these are both really good. That green version, I like how its arms are out and it's like, it's more menacing. But then the red and blue version is like, man, I'm gonna tear you up. I think these are both really good. Both deserve the honors. That's a draw. It's a lot of draws going on today. What's up with that? All right, we got Earth Bro, also known as Geodude. This one, I never thought Geodude's design was good, even though I liked the Pokemon. It was one of my favorite Pokemon to use in the runs, like when I would play as a kid. But I just always thought the design felt off. Like I knew that this wasn't supposed to be how Geodude looked. Iconic, but not very good at the same time. Red and blue definitely win this one because I have no idea what the green version is. I can't even tell where its eyes are. That looks awful for the green version. Red and blue wins. Geo bro. All right, we got Graveler number 75. That's a pretty cool look for that green version. But I think the red and blue Graveler design, they did a really good job with it. The arms out, the legs and everything. These are both really good looking sprites. I don't know who to give this one though to, because the green version is more like he's rolling forward and his arms are coming at you. I'm gonna give this one a draw. Both look very, very good. All right, look at the homie Golem right here. I always loved how cute this design was. It was always weird to me that like Geodude and Graveler were more serious and fierce, and then Golem's like, hey, I'm nice and cute. I'm a nice little cute Pokemon. But I like it though. I still have always liked this. These are pretty much the same exact sprite, just the hand's slightly different. Green's hand placement's a little bit better, but this is a draw. This is literally the same exact sprite. Ponyta, the non-Charmander fire type is, you know, this was a really good looking sprite, I think. I think they did a really good job with Ponyta. It's, you know, a pony with flames coming from it, and the sprite draws that out for you. It gives you that illusion of that. I don't like the head shape and the eyes on the green version. The proportions are really off. So definitely gonna give this one to red and blue. I think they did a good job with Ponyta. Last one for today, we've got Rapidash. This is an interesting one too. It's one of those Pokemon where you can tell they were kind of going once again for like one of those more realistic looks. I don't think this looks bad at all. I think it looks pretty cool, pretty majestic. But it's just one of those Pokemon that was so rare to see because you have Charizard or like Magmar, you know, even Flareon. I'm gonna give this one slightly to red and blue, barely though. All right, everybody, that is the conclusion of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. Once again, man, these videos have been super fun. A lot of y'all have been enjoying the video. And as always, if you have been enjoying, make sure you put the like down there, comment below what your favorite Pokemon was in this particular episode. And if you haven't already, man, subscribe to the channel. I have been streaming on all my social media platforms, so don't forget to check me out. I'm in the description section below if you want to see Pokemon Yellow Legacy, Pokemon Unite, as well as Super Mario Wonder. But thank y'all again. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one. Peace out. Deuces. Yo, what up? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video, and we are jumping right again into this series, man. We're ranking the Pokemon sprites. Pokemon Green is on the left side, Pokemon Red is on the right side. We have an appreciation for these Generation 1 sprites and the Nostalgia series. I want to also thank everybody for helping me hit 900 here on YouTube. So our next goal is to aim for 1,000. I think we're about 922 right now. So don't forget to like this video, subscribe if you haven't to get towards that 1K, and let your friends know about your boy. Let's jump right into it. All right, so first we're gonna bring you Slowpoke number 79. I really like this Pokemon Red and Blue sprite. This is a really good job. This is the Slowpoke as we know it. That's the slow homie. The green version doesn't look bad at all, but Red and Blue just really puts it in perspective. Red and Blue wins this one. This may be a top tier sprite as well. This is one of the better designed sprites. Tons of detail. The fact that a cloister or shelter that's clamped to its tail technically, the detail, him holding it in the front, you still see a good amount of its body. But then you have this green version over here that just gives a totally different perspective. These are both very good. I'm gonna give this a draw. They killed it with Slowbro's design. We've got Magnemite. These look pretty much the same. Very simple Pokemon design, but charming at the same time. It's simple and unique. A little Scrooge, your plus and minus kind of situation going on for them. A very cute and charming Pokemon. There isn't too much to say about this sprite. I think they both look good, and I would definitely give this one a draw. Wow, these both look really good. They provide two different perspectives, right? The red and blue version, you know, it kind of reminded me of the Doug Trio sprite from earlier, where you have like these 3 different angles, you know, up and forward, down and to the right. And the third one looks like he's lost and facing the other direction. And then the green version is a little bit more traditional. The eyes and the proportions are way bigger, but they both do a good job of this. I think this one deserves a draw for sure. Good job on Magneton. Farfetch'd. It's a pretty good design too. It was just unfortunate that Farfetch'd was not a very good Pokemon, but I've also seen that people learn that it's really good in speedrun. So what do I know? I'm just a casual guy. But the red and blue design, I think it wins this one. The beak on the Pokemon Green version kind of screws with it. I think if the beak were a little bit better, this could potentially be a draw. But I think red and blue wins. It looks a little bit more fierce. He's got the stick in his mouth. Cool little bird Pokemon. Doduo, as I like to say. These look pretty similar to a very simple Pokemon, a 2-headed bird that doesn't have any wings, all right? I think these pretty much look exactly the same. Maybe a slight advantage to red and blue. But once again, a very simplistic design. Not too much to say about this one. I'll give this one a draw. They both look good. Dodrio, and that's not what it says. But these both look pretty good too. We have a lot of draws today. What is going on? See, the green version did its thing with a lot of these sprites, and it goes to show that the red and blue version wasn't necessarily an improvement. Sometimes it was just a different perspective. And I would say this with Dodrio, just pretty much a different perspective, a little bit more fierce and more animated in the red and blue, but they both do a good design and they show what the Pokemon's meant to do. Another draw. Seal is such a little cute, chubby Pokemon. Like I said, I miss some of the chubbiness of the Gen 1 sprites. It's just unfortunate that you run into Seal so late in the game. He'd be a fun Pokemon if he were found like earlier in the game and you could utilize him for, you know, the water ice effect. These look pretty much the same. Like it's gonna be another draw. I like the chubbiness, but I also like the angle that the green version has better. How many draws do we have today? Dugong, another Pokemon that is so underrated and people kind of forget about. I like these designs too. I just like the chubbiness, the sea lion effect of the Dugong. I hate to say this, y'all, but I think we got another draw. Grimer, we have Grimer. Okay, I think we finally have a winner here. We have a clear winner. The red and blue design is really cool because you can just tell that its body's oozing, and they use these cool little different shades of color to kind of simulate where the acid is kind of drooping from Grimer's body. The green version tries to do this, but the mouth and eye design is really crooked and off. So red and blue definitely wins this one. I think Grimer's design is definitely underrated. Muck is a really cool Pokemon too. This red and blue version definitely clears because I used to remember when I'd fight this thing as a kid, it just looked so fierce. Once again, it had that boss Pokemon look, like you're fighting a boss. The green version isn't terrible, but it just doesn't quite have the visual effect that the red and blue did. They definitely cleaned that one up. We got Shelter. I don't even remember Shelter looking like this. Wow, it's been so long since I've seen this one. Do you know, if you've played the Dragon Warrior games, this design from the green version actually looks straight out of Dragon Warrior or Dragon Quest, same difference, because the monsters usually face you in that game. So it's interesting how that looks just like a Dragon Quest monster. The angle and the perspective is a little bit cooler on the red and blue version, so I would naturally give it to red and blue just because that angle is pretty unique and I like that design. All right, we've got the last one and we got Cloyster. Cloyster's design is super cool to me too. I've always thought Cloyster was a really cool Pokemon. I think it was just kind of awkward finding them because if I remember right, you needed a super rod or a good rod. So I think the green version had a pretty cool attempt. The perspective on that is nice where it's sideways. I think the red and blue though just slightly wins because of just how sinister it looked. Like it has this sinister yet kind of snarky look to them. But these are both great designs. I would give the slight edge to red and blue, but I wouldn't be upset if someone said they thought the green was better. But all right, once again, y'all, I appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for watching the video today. I hope y'all enjoyed everything. Your boy BigDonSkillz. Man, once again, we are still going towards that 1K. So don't forget to like, subscribe, comment below what you think of this series. And there's other series that you want to see me do. Let me know about that as well. But once again, I appreciate every single one of y'all, and I hope y'all have a great rest of your day. I'll see you on the flip side. Deuces. What up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video today. I hope everybody's had a great weekend. We are going to be jumping into another video about ranking the Generation 1 Pokemon sprites. Once again, your Pokemon Green, the original Japanese version, is going to be on your left side, while the Pokemon Red and Blue version that a lot of us played is going to be on your right side. So once again, we're going to rank these. We're going to have a good time. Once again, if you like the video, like it. Subscribe to the channel. We're on our goal to 1,000 right now, so let's get it going. All right, first on the list, we got the homie Ghastly. Now, I've always really liked the way they tried to illustrate Ghastly in the original game, because it's clearly a ghost, right? Going through Lavender Town, that's a pretty eerie part of the game. But I just really like how it's like pixelated, but it's supposed to be like spread out. And I think these both look really good. The green version looks pretty solid, but I think the red and blue, I would give it the slight edge because it's a little bit more menacing. It's got that angled look, which if you're playing the game, it's going to be looking at the player, right? The other Pokemon that it's facing. I'm going to give this a slight edge to the red version, but I think the green looks really good as well. Haunter. Man, I just, like I said earlier about Ghastly, I really like the way they gave this aura, this dispersed effect to the Ghastly line. I like both of these as well, but I may have to give the slight edge may have to go again to red version, because the Haunter from green looks great, but I think its eyes looking kind of up and away, it's a little bit different than the prankster kind of peekaboo that Haunter normally is. But once again, both of these are great. I mean, good job. Now, my boy Gengar, one of the coldest Pokemon of all time, a fan favorite of many. The purple and black is just a dynamic color duo. You've seen this Pokemon go through a lot of design changes, especially in the earlier days because of like the color palette that it had going for itself. And once again, I really like the way they designed Gengar for here. Red and blue version I think looks a lot better in my opinion. The green version looks good, but there's something about that angled look. Like I said before, I'm a sucker for the angled look when it comes to the Pokemon, especially because when you're fighting it, it's looking towards the Pokemon that you're using. So I'm gonna give this one to red and blue. I think this is a classic design that a lot of us remember growing up as a kid. Gengar being like a boss Pokemon in my eyes. Great job overall for this line. Onix, the Brock favorite, a Pokemon that I did not know it was as bad as it was. I thought Onix was so strong because Brock was ridiculous and they give you no tools to really fight him depending on your starter. So this is pretty cool. It's pretty interesting. I've always thought that the red and blue version has a lot of nostalgia to it. There's definitely a bias there. The green version, I actually think they did a better job with the rock design. The detail that they did with the rocks is actually really good. A lot more detailed than the red version, but the face is a little bit more awkward. They're both really good, but that green version detail though, slight edge. Next, we got Drowsy, one of the most unfortunate Pokemon because it is just completely overshadowed by Alakazam. The fact that Alakazam exists, especially in Gen 1, Drowsy and Hypno get pushed to the side. But these are such a underrated Pokemon to me. I've always thought their designs were really underrated. It's just something that's cool and kind of dopey about it, but kind of sick at the same time. The red and blue version, I really like the hands. They're more outward, they're facing towards you. Green looks pretty good too. I don't have any issues with that one, but I think the red's face being slightly more orientated towards you, slight edge to red. But I would say these sprites today, they've been pretty like close to each other. I wouldn't argue either way for most of these sprites, to be honest with you. My boy Hypno, a same issue as Drowsy. I definitely want to give this one to the red and blue because I've always thought the fur around his neck underrated. Like I said, him holding the I don't know what you call it, but him holding the hypnotizer in his hand. I'm gonna call it a hypnotizer. All right. I just like that hypno better. And once again, the angles, they really mean a lot once you're playing the game and you realize how the Pokemon's kind of facing you. Gives it like a 3D dimension, a third dimension to it. But I would give this one the red and blue for sure. Krabby. Man, I forget about this Pokemon sometimes. It's definitely overshadowed by a lot of water Pokemon from the later generations. This is the same exact design, but the hands are in different places. I would give this one a draw. This is a very basic Pokemon too. It's just a crab. Dang, Kingler though. This is a top tier sprite. I think a lot of the very massive, like in your face designs of Gen 1, that's where they really kind of nailed it with the design. This green version is really cool and I've never seen that before until today. And I like how it's forward with the hand, but then the other claw is back. So it gives like a double effect. But the red and blue having two right in your face, this is a draw. I think these are both really badass. Like they killed it with Kingler. Voltorb. All right, the best designed Pokemon of all time, the most original, the clever, the most coolestest is the Voltorb, number 100. We are already on number 100. I just like the red and blue design a little bit better. This is such a basic Pokemon, it's really hard to mess it up. And I think they tried to do a little too much with like the shadow and then like his eye structure on the green version. I'm gonna give this one the red and blue. Simple Pokemon, not too much to talk about. Electrode. I mean, once again, I just love how basic of a design this Pokemon is. It's literally a inverted Pokeball, right? With eyes and a mouth. And that's the charm of it. Like that's all Electrode is. I would give this one a draw because I really like both of their expressions on their face. That green one's more like, hey, I'm gonna get you. And then the red and blues laugh like, what? You got me facing this Pokemon? Like, who's this punk over here? I'm about to beat. I give this one a draw. I think they both look really good. Execute. This one is an interesting one right here. I don't know. I never knew how I felt about this design. It's such a basic design, but then I look at this green version and it's kind of cool because they're all smaller with different dimensions, different angles, facing out different ways. But the red and blue one's kind of going for that too, maybe slightly less detail, but then has the big one in the center. And so now I wonder, does Execute have a big egg in the center? I don't know, because I'm doing this live. I don't remember. But these are both pretty cool. I would have to give this one a draw. The red and blue one is iconic, but I think how, like they're literally like scrambled eggs kind of on the Pokemon Green version. Give this one a draw. Good job on this. Wow, Executor. Man, these are really similar. I forgot how good this design looked too. It may not be everybody's favorite Pokemon, but they did a sick job with the sprite artwork for this. This is like a kind of a high tier sprite design. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm gonna give this one a draw too. 3 faces, kind of doofus-like, you know, but 3 different dimensions. Green did a really good job. Red and blue did a good job. It didn't even need a redesign, to be honest. Cubone. I forgot about this design from red and blue. I remember as a kid, I used to think that Cubone was a dog. Well, obviously it is, I think. I used to think it was a dog and that bone was its arm. Like I thought it was its arm and paw, if that makes sense, if you zoom down on it. So I never really recognized it being a bone. But that green version is the iconic Cubone design. He's sad, he's got the bone in his hand. You know, he's got the skull of his mother, I believe. I'm gonna give this the Pokemon Green. The red version didn't accurately convey what it was trying to do. Instead of it swinging forward, it looks like it's a dog crawling at you. And I don't think that's what they were going for. Marowak. Wow, this is a Pokemon I forgot about too. I thought it was a fairly basic design. I thought Cubone looked a little bit better. Marowak's a weird one. That green version doesn't look good at all. That's pretty bad, I'll be honest with you. The green's gonna lose by default. Red and blue, it looks good, but it's just very plain and basic. This is not the best design of red and blue. This is a lower tier sprite. It's not terrible, but it it just didn't do the best of job, to be honest with you. But all right, that is the end of the video, y'all. I hope y'all enjoyed it. Once again, thank you so much for stopping by today, hanging out with your boy BigDonSkillz. I appreciate every single one of y'all. As always, don't forget to subscribe to the channel. We are playing more games. We got more content coming through. A lot of people have been loving the Pokemon, and we're on the road to 1,000. So once again, we'll get it done. Appreciate y'all. Have a good rest of your day. Peace out. Deuces. What up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video. We are rolling right into part 8 of the ranking of Pokemon Generation 1 sprites. We are a little bit over halfway through, man, so we're getting it rolling. We're going to start off with the legendary Hitmonlee. As always, if you like the video, subscribe to the channel, drop that like, tell your friends about it as we make our journey towards 1K. Now let's get it. First off, we're going to start off with the legendary Hitmonlee, based on the legend himself, Bruce Lee. Now, looking at the kicks right here, both of these poses are really cool. I always thought the red and blue version was a pretty cool dynamic pose, which I think they nailed it on this one. And even going on the green version, despite the eyes being a little close, the pose is so cool and is actually more Bruce Lee like that I would have to give this one a draw. I think they both did a really good job with this sprite in particular, and Hitmonlee as a fan favorite. Next, we're going to Hitmonchan. This is also a Pokemon that I just really liked. Of course, he's based on Jackie Chan, despite boxing gloves and all of his moves being punches of ice and thunder, fire, everything. Now, the green version, it's too cute. And that's not what I want from Hitmonchan. He looks just like, oh, like maybe I'll punch, like maybe I'll throw a punch or two here, maybe I'll just, like it looks so nice and childlike. So I'm gonna give this one the red because the detail's really good and the pose is very dynamic too. Once again, angled and punching down towards the player. I think that looks really good. Lickitung. The Pokemon of memes themselves. These both look pretty good actually. The green version looks a little bit more detailed and realistic, believe it or not. The red and blue version looks just fine. Lickitung's always just been a weird Pokemon. I would actually give this a slight edge to green because they put a lot of detail into that sprite. It looks like they were reversed from which versions they came from. Green gets a dub for this one. Next, we have Coughing, the legendary Team Rocket Pokemon. These both look really good too, actually. The red and blue one, just a super cool effect by putting the smog surrounding its body. I think that's a great attention to detail. The green version actually kind of low-key resembles the one that we get in the anime a little bit more. But I'd say these both look great. I would give it a draw. And I think this game does a really good really good job with Pokemon that have like a purple around it. It's kind of like what I mentioned with Ghastly earlier. Good job for both of these. Weezing, another legendary Pokemon of Team Rocket caliber. Now, these both kind of have the same thing going for it, where the red and blue version, they looked more fused. The green version, you can see a little bit more distinction between the two, but I think these both look great. I think they represent Weezing. Easily give this one a draw. Good job on this sprite as well. Rhyhorn, one of the coolest Pokemon that unfortunately you get too late in the game. And its evolution requirement being so high, it's always made it a very hard Pokemon to use. Not to mention, I don't think it gets any like rock moves. I don't think it gets any moves of its own typing or something. It's a very weird Pokemon for something that had such a cool design. And if I remember right, it shared even the same voice cry as like Charizard or something like that, if you listen to him closely. Now, this design, they're pretty much the same thing. Red and blue's like he's running forward. The green version, he's a little bit more poised. I think this is a really nice looking sprite. There's a lot of detail. It's just a really cool Pokemon. It's just unfortunate that it pops up so late in the game. But great design. I'd give this one a draw for sure. Rhydon. Same exact issue as I said with Rhyhorn. Very cool Pokemon, but you get it so late, and all the effort it takes to evolve it makes it a hard choice to make. Now, the green version is a little bit more like pudgy and cute. I think the red and blue one wins this one because it looks more realistic and like dinosaur like. But I don't think the green version is bad. It's just red and blue definitely definitely took the crown on this one. Oh man, Chansey. Always thought it looked really weird in red and blue. And I think it's because of the way the hand is close to the mouth. And it just looks like I don't know, like it's got a double chin or something. I don't know about this one. I've always been torn between this one. I'm gonna give this one a draw, but I don't think they did a very good job of Chansey. I don't really like the design too much on this one. Tangela. Now, this is another Pokemon that kind of finds itself in a weird situation. If I remember correctly, you get him fairly late in the game, and by then you've ran across Oddish, Bellsprout. You may have already had Venusaur in your party, and it's just a very weird one where it didn't have its evolution that it got in Gen 4, right? So this was it, and just one of the oddest design Pokemon to me. I've never heard of anybody that said they've liked Tangela. So if you do, let me know in the comment section below and I'll give you a high five. This is a draw. Very basic. There's not too much to say about this one. I wish I could have more commentary on Tangela or Tanglers, but I don't have much to say about this one. Kangaskhan, really cool Pokemon as well. Super nice design. Always reminded me of Nidoqueen, like an alternate version of Nidoqueen. I like both of these actually. I like how the green version has the baby yelling as opposed to Kangaskhan yelling. And then in the red and blue version, you have Kangaskhan yelling as opposed to the baby yelling. But I think these are really cool dynamic poses. A little bit more cutesy on the green side, but I would give this one a draw. I like both of these designs. Kangaskhan's a really cool Pokemon too. Horsey. Yeah, I remember that Horsey when I used to play Pokemon Blue. It's just such a basic Pokemon too that it can be really hard to mess up. But as you've seen in the green version, they didn't do a good job of it. It doesn't look very good. The red and blue is passable, but it doesn't do anything special for the Pokemon. I'm gonna give this one the red and blue for sure. I just like its pose a little bit better and the details a little bit more there. Seadra. Man, I've always liked this design too. I think the Horsey Seadra line suffered once again for being a water Pokemon with a lot of other competition, whether you had Cloyster, Seeking, Blastoise, whatever you call by that, Gyarados, Magikarp, like Seadra was unfortunately a Pokemon that just kind of found itself in the middle of everything. Really cool design, and I think the Kingdra evolution is like one of the best evolutions that they added to a non-third stage Pokemon. I like the red and blue for the posing. The green version, it seems like it's a beta. It looks like a beta sprite, right? Like they still hadn't figured out what they were going for yet. I'm gonna give this one the red version. Like I said, very dynamic. I like that. I like what they did with this. Goldeen. I don't know what it was about Goldeen. I just always found, when I was a kid, I just found the design to be so like douchey on this game. I know that's a weird thing to say, but like Goldeen literally gives that aura of like, yo, don't mess with me, man. This is whack. Like, don't mess with me, okay? Like Goldeen is a queen, right? And I think that's obviously what they're going for. But definitely gives the queen attitude, queen bee. Okay, here's where my bias comes in. I'm gonna go with red and blue because it's more iconic and nostalgic for me. The green version is probably a better design, but solely off of what I just told you, I'm gonna go with the red and blue because the personality that comes from the sprite is really what stands out to me for Goldeen. And I don't think I've ever used this Pokemon in a playthrough. Let me know if you have down in the comments. Oh man, Seeking, yuck. Seeking is one of the grossest Pokemon. It feels weird that it's even in Pokemon because looking at these designs, the sprites themselves look great. It's just that Seeking's design is so creepy that somebody who may not know any better would look at this and think it looks bad. But no, these are great. Like, these are really, really good. The Seeking, it's kind of on its side. It gives you like the side eye on the red version, but the green version is more in your face, like swimming through the ocean, scary. I would give this one a draw, and I think sprite design wise, these are some of the better looking ones that I've seen, despite me not liking the Pokemon. Shout out to Seeking. All right, we are at Staryu. Oh man, I remember how you talk about Pokemon that's grown on me. Staryu is the definition of a Pokemon that's grown on me over time. I didn't really think much of them at first, And then when I did my playthrough of, I think Pokemon Emerald, believe it or not, this was like one of my main Pokemon. With it learning Thunderbolt, Ice Beam, Surf, and I think Psychic, I think is what I used to run with it. This thing is a powerhouse. It's fast, it's got strong attack. And I think this design-wise, this is the same exact sprite, pretty much. This is barely any different. Red and blue, a little bit more angled towards the player. Green, sending forward. This is a very nicely designed sprite, especially for how simple Staryu is. So I would give this one a draw. Great looking Pokemon. Last but not least, Starmie. Same exact story I just gave you with Staryu, except for it's on Starmie now. So as a kid, fun story. When I never believed in using legendaries as a kid. And when it came to Starmie, back when they had the Cinnabar Island glitch, you could capture these over level 100, right? And so the trick is, when you did the Missing Go glitch, these Pokemon, I don't know if you could level them up to 999, but you could level them up in the 200s, the 300s if you wanted to. And so my neighbor, when we used to do link cable battles, he would use legendary Pokemon, which I refused to use as a kid. I thought it was so lame to use Pikachu, Moltres, Zapdos, Articuno, Charizard, and then Alakazam or something like that. So I would go and use these obscure Pokemon like this. And because Starmie evolves with a Water Stone, it only knew, I think, Tackle and Water Gun. And I leveled my Starmie literally up to level 222, I believe. And it one-shotted everything in the game. Now, the trick is you can use these Pokemon in link battles. There's no restrictions on them, especially for how old this game was. But if you put it in any sort of battle where you would gain experience points, it would reset back to level 100. So I used to literally bring my like overpowered Starmie and I would tackle his entire team, one shot the entire team. You get pissed off. But that is my story of Starmie. And going back to the actual thing itself, this is a draw. Starmie battle for Misty, one of the most iconic Pokemon you play in the entire game, of how hard and ridiculously difficult this Pokemon is, because it's strong and it's fast. As I've said before, it had Bubble Beam. Great Pokemon and great design. Draw for this one. They both look great. But all right, everybody, that is the end of the video. I hope you all enjoyed. It was super fun making this. Once again, like and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. We're gonna keep going with this series. I hope you all enjoyed it, and I hope to see you all soon. See you on the next one. Deuces. What animal is Electabuzz? Is it a cat, a bear cat, a man bear pig? What up, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz again, bringing you another video. I know it's been a while, but we are back, baby, and we are coming through with part 9 of the Rate the Pokemon Generation 1 sprites. Once again, on your left side is going to be the Pokemon Green version, and on your right side is going to be the Pokemon Red/Blue version. So let's get into it. First one up is we got Mr. Mime. I'm looking at Mr. Mime right now, and it's so funny. I don't even remember this sprite as a kid. I don't remember the red and blue version, but I think the green one's a little bit better because it feels more Mime-like. It's a little bit more dimensional. And the red and blue one looks a little bit chubbier. Although Mr. Mime is kind of like whatever, I'm gonna have to go with the slight edge to Pokemon Green, but there's nothing wrong with the red version. Oh man, the classic Scyther himself. I think a fan favorite of a lot of people, okay? If you like Charizard, Scyther was kind of in that same category. I think this was always one that looked weird because I remember the show, and by the time I'd seen this one, I'd already seen what he looked like in the show, and I don't like the green one that much, but I think the red and blue one is just fine. It's not one of my favorite representations of the Pokemon itself, but I still think it's got a really cool dynamic pose, right? It's angled, it's coming at you, the scythes are coming down from the sides of his hands. So I'm gonna have to give this one to red. Oh, Jinx, probably the most controversial Pokemon of Gen 1, obviously due to the nature of the color, which would be blackface. Eventually they changed it, And now Jinx has a purple face. The lips aren't as pronounced. Jinx is just the L, all right? We're gonna move on to the next one. All right, Electabuzz, another fan favorite, all right? I already know Magmar's coming up, but Electabuzz, Scyther, Charizard, those are like the signature favorites of Gen 1. And I actually think the green version, funny enough, is the more signature Electabuzz pose, right? Where his hands are kind of above its head. But the red and blue version, the pose is pretty cool too. I'm gonna give this one a draw. I think they both did a really good job. Once again, one of the coolest Pokemon, a thunder punching Electabuzz. I don't even know what animal it's supposed to be. Does anybody know? Somebody tell me in the comment section, what animal is Electabuzz? Is it a cat, a bear cat, a man bear pig? And Magmar, man, I forgot about this one. It's so dynamic, but it's weird how dynamic it is for Magmar, you know. But I'll never forget how nasty Blaine's Magmar, bro. Blaine's Magmar versus Charizard, one of the most iconic battles in Pokemon history. Come on now. I just always laughed at the butt head that Magmar has, but it's still so cool because they're so different. But I like and dislike certain things about them both. This one's a draw. Still overall a classic Pokemon. Pinsir. Are these literally just reversed? I think this is literally just reversed. Like the claws slightly different. The green version has more shadow on it. Like what is going on here? This is terrible. Why his eyes look like that? Like I don't remember Pinsir looking this bad, but this is actually a This one's whack. I'm not gonna lie to you. They're both bad. This one's a draw, but they're both L's, as the youngins would say. I always forget about Tauros. It looks too cute in the red and blue version. I like the green version better because the pose is more horse-like or more bull-like, excuse me. And it's a lot more dynamic looking. I'm gonna have to give this one a green. I think the green one looks a lot better. Red and blue just looks a little too cute. Magikarp. Wow, Magikarp's sprite is actually really good. It's a really detailed one. Who would think that Magikarp would have one of the better looking sprites in the whole game? Why does this look so good? I think they both look great. I would give this one a draw too. You know, very dynamic, kind of swimming towards you. With the green version, I guess it's swimming kind of like at an angle. But the red and blue version, it's a little bit more derpy and looking side to side. But I think they both match Magikarp, honestly. Because even though Magikarp just splashes all day, it can still technically swim. It's a fish. So yeah, we'll give this one a draw. A really good job with Magikarp. Gyarados. Yeah, red and blue Gyarados is a top tier sprite for sure. It is hard to beat this one. This is one of the, when you see this on the enemy screen, you know that trouble is coming. You can look at this Pokemon and know that it's strong, right? You know that it's one of the strongest Pokemon in the generation. I think that's what's so great about the Gyarados sprite. It shows how powerful it really looks. The green version doesn't look bad. It's just the eyes are a little bit off on it, but I think that looks really good too, right? It's very aggressive in your face. I would give this one the red and blue, but hey, green did a good job as well. Lapras. All right, so Lapras is known for having the eyes, the like, I don't know how to explain it, but they have like the Disney character eyes or something. I've always liked the design of Lapras, a very simplistic but iconic one, and definitely was bolstered by the show, right? The green one looks more dinosaur-like, which makes sense, right? That's Lapras supposed to be. Is it supposed to be Nessie? Nestle Crunch? I'm gonna call it Nestle now. I think the red and blue one just looks a little bit more elegant. Green looks just fine, but red and blue wins. A little bit more sleeker, a little bit more elegant, more feminine. And I think that's what they were going for with that look. Ditto. Ditto's one of those designs where it's kind of hard to mess up because by nature it's just a blob. And I actually think, despite this, the red and blue one's a little bit better because I like how it's doing the Kirby wave at you. Hi. Green's not bad, but just red and blue slightly wins. There's not too much to say about this. It's Ditto. Like, you can configure it in as many ways as you want. You give it 2 dots and a smile and you've got a Ditto. So Good job. Eevee. I don't know what's going on with the green version. I always thought when I played it growing up, I was like, this doesn't look anything like the Eevee from the show. But it's not a bad sprite at all. It just looks a lot different than what Eevee ended up being. But I would definitely give this one the red and blue because the green one looks so weird. Like what is that? They didn't do a good job with that one at all. It's all disconfigured. Vaporeon is one of my favorite Pokemon, actually. I've always been Team Vaporeon, my favorite evolution for sure. Let me know in the comment section what your favorite evolution is, by the way. And I don't know, once again, I don't know what green was going with. They didn't do it right at all. I always liked how how much shadow they put on the red and blue Vaporeon sprite. I used to remember that too. I was like, it looks ominous for some reason. And I don't know if that's what they were going for, but it oddly kind of fits with Vaporeon because it's got that cat-like pose where it's circling around like to kind of stalk its prey. I really like that. But the green version looks pretty bad, actually. That looks fan-made. It looks like a beta sprite, like something that was in those beta leaks. We're going with red and blue for sure. Jolteon, and wow, I really like that green version. It's pretty dynamic, and the sparks are really coming out of it. This is kind of cool. I thought the red and blue version was always nice. It was a really cool looking sprite, a little bit more subtle than I think Vaporeon. But I really like that green version. It's kind of it's out there and it's spiky. It looks like it's about to just pop out a lot of electricity. I'm gonna give this one a Pokemon Green. I see you, Jolteon. Last but not least, we've got Flareon. And wow, okay. I like both of these as well. The mink cat kind of laying down, just calm and ready is kind of a cool mix with Flareon. I like how they went for like different cat poses for each of the evolutions. I think that's what they were trying to convey with the theme. But I also like the green version because it's kind of ready to pounce, right? It's just alert, it's ready, it's almost a little bit more dynamic, honestly. I would give this one a draw because they both look really good and they both accomplish a theme with that Pokemon. Good job on Flareon. But all right, that is the last one for today. I've realized with this series, part 10, we're gonna sum this bad boy up. So we're gonna do the rest of the 151. But I hope y'all enjoyed this video. I apologize for the hiatus and I appreciate everybody that's been sticking here with me. We are still on our way to 1,000. So once again, if you like this video, you know what to do. Hit that drop, drop that like, hit the sub button. Come join me in the fam as we are streaming and doing a lot of other things on different social media platforms. So I appreciate y'all and I'm gonna see y'all in the next one. It'll be here tomorrow. Peace out, deuces. But the green version, it looks like Dragon Tails or something. Dragon Tails, Dragon Tails. Okay, that's all. I'm a Dragon Tails. What's going on, everybody? It's your boy BigDonSkillz bringing you another video, and we are finally wrapping up the series today of the 151 Gen 1 sprites. We even got a few bonuses at the end. Now, as this series is wrapping up, I'll be looking for more ideas to continue, whether it's with Pokemon or with other things. Let me know in the comment section below some things you'd like to see from me going forward with this channel. But once again, I appreciate y'all and let's get it rolling. Starting off with Porygon, one of the most unique Pokemon of all time. Even had its controversies in the show. People were having seizures from one of the episodes that it was in. And I always thought it looked really cool in game. This is one of the few sprites where when I look at that red and blue version, I remember it looking a little bit better in game. And when I see the green version, I'm like, oh, that's pretty cool too. That reminds me of the Porygon that we're used to seeing, right? I like both of these for their own different reasons. They're both meant to be, they look like Tesla Cybertrucks. And so I'm gonna give this one a draw. I really like both of the designs. Almanite, wow. Talk about a name that you never hear. It is a interesting Pokemon. And its design is relatively simple between these two. The difference being the pose, right? The eyes and the shell are exactly the same. It's just that the pose is a little bit different. I like how the red and blue version is a little bit more mighty. I don't know if that's this Pokemon's personality per se, but I like the pose regardless. I would give this one to red and blue. Green's just fine, but red just has a dynamic pose. Amistar. So another really underrated Pokemon in my opinion. I told you earlier how I like Vaporeon. Amistar was on my original red and blue team. I had like 2 or 3 water types, okay? Don't judge me, I was like 8. But once again, this is pretty much the same exact thing. The shell's exactly the same. It's just the different poses. And honestly, damn, this Pokemon's kind of fugly. it's a weird looking Pokemon, despite all the things I've said about it. I think this is pretty much a draw. Looks like it's gonna hug you in the green version. In the red version, it looks like it's just gonna wave at you. This is pretty much the same thing to me. I'm gonna give this one a draw. Kabuto. Wow, so a lot different. The sprite that we saw in the red and blue version is more of an overhead view of the top of its shell. And I really like it. You know, I don't think that's its actual eyes. Correct me if I'm wrong. What's on the top of it? I forget how these creatures work in real life, but I really like that green version because you can just see the eyes shining from the darkness that's underneath its shell. So I'm gonna give this one to the green version, but there is something a little cutesy and funny about that red and blue version. Kabutops, easily red and blue version. There's not even a thought. The green version is just off. The proportions are all messed up. It looks poorly drawn. So this one easily goes to the red and blue. The scythes are dope. He's got one raised high, the other lower, and he's menacing. He's coming towards you. It almost reminds me of how the monsters look in like the Dragon Quest series. A lot of their poses are more front facing like this one. This would really fit in Dragon Quest. Wow, Aerodactyl. This is a really good one right here. That green version is really nice. That's a really good looking, first take at it, right? Then the red and blue version's more of soaring towards you. This one's definitely I'd give this one a draw. And I would even argue if someone said they like the green version better because it's just well done. There's really nothing to it. It's a very well done sprite. Aerodactyl's a really cool Pokemon too, having the Aero Blast and it being extremely fast. So the fossil Pokemon are really cool additions in the Gen 1 and just Pokemon in general. I guess I'm the draw. Oh man, Snorlax, dude. I love Snorlax. Snorlax is one of the coolest Pokemon ever. Just it being a fat, lazy Pokemon that just wants to sleep. But when it actually gets up and throws hands with you, it's super fast. Like, Snorlax is actually pretty fast. So, I thought the green version was what it looked like when I played it growing up, but I guess not. But the red and blue looks great. It's more angled, right? The green pose is more iconic, right? That also kind of reminds me of how the Dragon Quest monsters are. They're more front facing. I like both of these. These definitely deserve a draw. They really show Snorlax's laziness. Just a big fat cat pretty much just kicking back, I like it. All right, we go into the legendaries, all right? We have Articuno starting it off. And I think Articuno's terrible. I don't think this looks good at all. The head on the green version just looks really goofy. Doesn't fit the proportions of the rest of the body. And then the red and blue version, I just think they hadn't finalized what they wanted Articuno to look like yet. It just looks very beta and like generic, right? Like it just looks like something that came from the beta. I don't like these both at all. I'm gonna give this one overall an L. I don't do that much in this series, but no go for Articuno. Zapdos. Zapdos looks a lot better, okay? And it's probably the coolest design out of the 3 birds. Articuno eventually looked a lot better, especially once the show and then the movies came around. But Zapdos was always the cool kid, all right? And these both look pretty similar, right? Almost the same exact pose. The red and blue version slightly turned more, and its mouth is open. And due to the nature of everything on Zapdos being spiky, it can be a little hard to like differentiate between what you're looking at. But I would definitely give this one a draw because honestly, the green was good enough. It didn't even need to be changed. But the red and blue version is just as good. Moltres. You can tell, like I said, in these early ones, I don't think they knew what the finalized design of what these legendaries are going to be. The green version just doesn't look good at all. It just looks weird. It looks fan made. It just doesn't look good in my opinion. The red and blue version, without applying a bias in my head, it looks cool, but it still looks off at the same time. And I can't really say what it is about Moltres. I don't know what it is. It just doesn't quite hit like Zapdos. Zapdos is just the coolest one. This one's okay overall. I would give it to red and blue because the pose is a lot better and the details I like a lot more. But still kind of iffy for me. Dratini. It's interesting how we're getting into this last like 10 or 15 Pokemon, and oddly enough, you've seen a kind of a decline in quality for a lot of these, which is odd. Dratini, I don't even remember this. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I do not remember Dratini sprite design at all from Gen 1. He's so late in the game, and then you know about Dragonite, so you're just trying to rush and get Dragonite. These are both okay. And I would give them a draw, maybe a slight edge to green, but I don't really care for this. So y'all have to let me know in the comment section below which one you like better between the Dratini. It just doesn't do anything for me, you know. We move on again to Dragonair. Why as we are coming to the conclusion of this series, we're seeing, I feel so negative right now. I'm not liking, I haven't liked these last like 5 or 6. They've been very disappointing to me. Dragonair looks okay. It's a little hard to tell what I'm looking at. And it just, I don't know, it's such a cool Pokemon. I think it's an underrated like design, even for it being like a dragon snake. I'll give this one to red and blue. Barely, but not convincingly. 149 Dragonite. Man. I remember thinking like, oh, this is really cool. And then once I actually saw the TV show and saw how Dragonite actually looked, I was like, not really too fond of this design. I like the dynamic pose of the red and blue version, right? How it's flying and it's confident, right? But the green version, it looks like Dragon Tails or something. Dragon Tails. Okay, that's all. I'm a Dragon Tails. Yeah, I'm gonna give this one the red and blue, but I'm being honest with y'all, I'm not feeling this. This is 149. Mewtwo better make up for this with 150. He better make up for this. Okay, Mewtwo made up for this, dude. I love the gangsta pose that he has in the red and blue version where he's just like, I'm gonna beat you up. I've always liked that. I thought that was super cool. But the green version is more signature Mewtwo. These are both great. This is how you go out with a bang, because the last 7 or 8 have been straight gulag design, all right? This is amazing. Mewtwo, definitely one of the best looking sprites in the game, and they knew that they had to do that with this Pokemon. Looks great, both designs, absolutely menacing. You know that you have the strongest Pokemon in the game when you look at Mewtwo. He just says that he is. Oh yeah, you thought this was over. No, we got Mew still. We still got Mew, the last of the 151 before the few bonuses that we got for y'all. But Mew, like, it was so anticlimactic. Like, we had all these rumors growing up about what Mew looked like. You know, how to get Mew. If you go to the truck in Pallet Town, if you do this, if you do that, like, we had all these rumors. That green version looks like something out of Goosebumps, bro. It looks, I can't say it, just looks terrible. The red and blue versions, it's fine, but I'm gonna give this one the red and blue, but not convincing again. I'm a little upset for 151, all right? Don't go anywhere, bonus time. We got a couple bonuses here. Kabutops Fossil. There's actually different versions of the Fossil. I'm going to say, to be quick with this one, once again, the red and blue wins, because just like the original Kabutops, dynamic pose, but the green version looks a lot better than the original Kabutops green did. Aerodactyl Fossil, I like both of these. I think these are both pretty good designs. They match the original Pokemon, like I said. The green version may honestly be slightly cooler to me, but I think these both deserve it. I'll give it a draw. I approve, I approve. There's even 4 types of ghosts. Isn't that crazy? This is a clear draw. The only difference is the color and the shading's a little bit different. Nothing to talk about here for this one. And then last but not least, y'all, the GOAT right here. This is the best design in the whole game, bro. The best design in the whole game is Missing Goal. The best glitch in all of gaming history is the Missing Go glitch. The best glitch of all time is the Missing Go glitch. Just know that. And with that, this series is over, y'all. Thank y'all so much for hanging out with your boy Don. I was happy to wrap this series up. I hope y'all enjoyed it. And once again, if you want to see me do more stuff, drop it in the comment section below. Give me some suggestions, and I would love to do more things and add more content. But I hope y'all enjoyed things, and I'll talk to y'all soon, y'all. Deuces. Peace out.